Hello pals, welcome to another tutorial. So in today's tutorial we are going to be making this jumbo pants with a wide elastic band waist and a rope. So if this is what you're interested in knowing how to make, you want to continue watching this video, click on the like button, subscribe to this channel, and let's get started. So this is the fabric that I'm going to be using for this style. I have 6 yards here and I ended up using 3¼ and I'll also be using this elastic band. So I have 1 inch elastic band here, so I'm going to be joining it together to make a 2 inches elastic band. So the first thing you're going to do is to fold your fabric into two. So for you to know the amount of fabric to fold into two, you are going to be making a simple calculation. So let me get my pen and paper, and let's do this calculation together. So the first thing you are going to be doing is to divide your hip into 4. So your hip divided by 4. So my hip is 37 divided by 4. That gives me 9¼ Then after this, you are going to calculate your crouch extension. So to calculate this, you are going to be dividing your hip by 16. So your hip divided by 16 will give you your crouch extension. So for me, my hip is 37 divided by 16. That is going to give me approximately 2.5. So after doing this, you are going to add your hip divided by 4, which is 9¼ in my case, plus your crotch extension, which is 2.5, and now you are going to be adding 5 inches extra for ease, because this is a jumbo pant. So by the time you add all this together, that is what is going to give you the amount of fabric at which you are going to be folding. After adding all this together, it gives me 16¾ So I made a mistake here and I'm going to correct it later. So what you are going to do is divide your hip into 4. In my case, it's 37 divided by 4. So then you calculate your crotch extension, that's your hip divided by 16. So in my case, it's giving me 2.5. When I calculated it gave me 2.3 something, so I approximate it to 2.5. So now you are going to add what you have for your hip divided by 4 plus your crotch extension and 5 inches extra for the ease. So that is going to give you what you are going to fold. And when I calculate this, it actually gave me 16¾ So now I'm going to be folding 16¾ on my fabric. I don't want to fold exactly 16¾ I added about half of an inch to it. So now after folding your fabric into two, I'm going to be cutting off the excess. So the next thing you are going to do is to mark half of an inch at the upper part of your fabric. So this half of an inch, this line is going to be the starting line, and this ½ inch is what you are going to be using as the stitching allowance to stitch your band to your waistline. So now from this starting line, you are going to be taking your crouch measurement. So if you don't know how to take your crouch measurement, just sit on a wooden chair, and then place your tape on your waistline where you are going to be placing your trouser, and measure to the top of the chair. So that's going to be your crouch. So for me, my crouch is 11 inches and I'm going to be adding 1 inch to that. So that's going to be 12 inches. So I'm going to be marking 12 inches for my crouch line. So go ahead and mark exactly your crouch measurement. So don't worry about the band, because this is a jumbo pant, so it's not supposed to be very fitted, so you don't have to worry about the band. So after marking that, you place your tape at the starting line again, and you measure your knee line, your waist to knee. So for me, my waist to knee is 21 inches. Then I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Then after that, I'm going to be marking the trouser length. So go ahead and measure your trouser length. For me, my trouser length is 40 inches. So I'll mark that, and I'm going to be marking 2 inches extra, and this is going to be the hemming allowance. So now I'm going to draw a straight line across each of these points. So now on the crotch line, what you are going to be doing now is to divide your hip measurement into 4. So my hip measurement divided by 4 is 9¼ So I'm going to mark that. Then I'm going to be adding 5 inches extra for the ease allowance. So I'm going to mark that also. So what I have here on this crotch line is what I'm going to be marking out on the waistline as well. So I'm going to mark exactly the same thing. Then I'm going to take my ruler and connect these two together in a straight line. So the next thing to do now is to get my crotch extension on my crotch line. So I'm going to be placing my tape after this line here, and then I'm going to be marking my crotch extension. So my crotch extension is 2.5 as we calculated earlier. So here now I'm going to go up by 1 inch, and here I'm going to go up by 2 inches. And then you can go ahead and connect this with your free hand, but if you cannot use your free hand, then you can as well use your curve this way. So after doing this, what you are going to do next is to come to your knee line. So what you have on your crotch line here, you are going to be marking that on your knee line. So now I'm going to mark that exactly here. Then after marking that, I'm going to be coming in by 1 inch. So go in by 1 inch. Then you are going to be connecting from your crotch line to that 1 inch that you came in by, like this. And then from the knee line, you are just going to connect straight down to the hem line this way. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So after this, you are going to be folding your fabric into 2 again for your back part. So what you are going to do after folding it into 2, you are going to be placing the front part on it. You are going to be making sure that the back part is about 2.5 inches wider than the front part, and at this upper part is going to be at least about 2 inches higher here. So that is what's all you need for the back part. So you can see that on the side it aligns with each other, and at the crotch area is just about 2.5 inches wider, and at the upper part about 2 inches, and this lower part it aligns. So that's all you need for your back part. So I'm going to cut off the excess. So at this crotch area now, you come to your crotch area, then you are going to be marking your back crotch extension. So what I do is I subtract ½ inch from what I have for my front extension. So for my front I have 2.5. So here I'm just going to be marking 2 inches for the back crotch extension. Then at this upper part I'm going to go up by 1.5 inch. So that's to give room for the butt, so that your back part can cover your butt perfectly. So then I'm going to connect it to the waistline like this. So just do exactly the same. So this part now I'm going to be adding 2 inches here for the back part. So I'm going to be adding 2 inches at this crotch area all the way to the crotch extension. So I'm just going to connect it to meet the crotch extension like this. So you want to do exactly the same. Then at this inner part, the leg part, I'm also going to be adding 2 inches all the way down. So I'm going to come to this leg part now, and I'm going to be marking 2 inches here. So I'm going to mark 2 inches this way. I'm going to go to the knee line, mark 2 inches, and I'm going to be connecting it this way, and I will mark 2 inches all the way to the hem line. And so that is just what we need to do for the back part. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So you can see how simple and easy it is. So now this is the front part. What we are going to be doing is to mark out the pockets. So now I'm going to be marking out 6 inches. I'm going to come down by 7 inches here, and then this way I'm going to be going by 4 inches. So now I'm going to connect from 4 inches to 7 inches like this, and now I'm going to be cutting it out. So these are the 4 pieces that I'm going to be using for the pocket. So the width is 7 inches and the length is 10 inches. So I'm going to take 2 like this. You can see that the right side is facing the right side, Then I'm going to place it below the pocket this way. Then I'm going to be cutting out that V shape for the side. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be arranging it the way it's going to be. So this is how the pocket is going to look like for both. So I've picked one now and I'm going to be fixing it on the pocket one after the other. So place this like this and stitch it down. Then after stitching, you are going to open it up and top stitch on it. So I'm done top stitching on it. You can see how it's laying very flat. So now what I'm going to do now is to turn it to the wrong side. Then I'm going to be placing the other one on it. So I'm going to place it like this. Then I'm going to be pinning it together. After pinning it together, I'm going to be stitching it all around. And I'm going to do the same thing to the second part. So this is it, I'm done. So I just stitched the upper part to the waistline this way. So now I'm going to place the second one on it, right side facing right side, and I'll be joining the crotch area. And I also do the same thing to the back side also. So I'm done joining the crotch area for the front and the back. The next thing is to join the sides. So I'm going to place the back part on it and join it together on the sides by half of an inch, or on both sides half of an inch all the way down. So I'm done. So by the time you join it together, you realize that the back part is looking wider than the front, so that is normal. Now the next thing is to join the crotch area. So I'm going to be matching it up like this. Make sure that it aligns and one is not missing the other. So make sure it's matching up perfectly and then pin it together. So open up the sewing allowance there. Then you are going to be stitching it from that center to this side and the center to the second side. So go ahead and pin this together so that it's going to be easier for you. Then from the center here, stitch it all the way down, and the center here, stitch it all the way down. So I'm done doing that. The next thing now is to fold to hem the lower part. So what you are simply going to do is to fold it by 1 inch and fold it again. So that means you are going to be folding it twice. Then you are going to be stitching it all around, and you are going to be doing the same thing to the second part. So after doing that, the next thing is to fix the band. So to fix the band, you are going to be measuring the waist all around. So measure from the center front all around and back to the center front. So after measuring this all around, I got 57.5. So this is what I've cut out for the band. So this weight is 6 inches. So that by the time it's unfold is 3 inches, and this way it is I added 2 inches extra to that, so it's like 59.5 inches. So now I'm going to place it on fold like this, and it's going to be 3 inches for the band. So what we are going to do is we are going to be joining it together this way. But before we join it together this way, we are going to be doing one simple thing. First of all, fold it into two like this, the way it's going to be on your waistline. Then the part that is going to be facing the front is where you are going to be making a partition. Because this band is going to be having a rope, so we have to create a space for that rope. And because I folded it into two, it already gives me a line to indicate the center. So now from this center to this part now is 3 inches. So this 3 inches now, I'm going to be creating a space at the middle. So I'm going to partition it into 3. I'm going to divide it into 3. So I'm going to make a mark at 1 inch mark, at 2 inch mark, and then at the 3 inch mark is the last part. So this space between 1 inch to 2 inches is where I'm going to be using for the space to pass my rope. And this side that I'm chalking on is the side that is going to be facing the front, because the rope will have to come out at the center front. I hope you get what I'm saying. So I'm going to make the same division here. I'm going to divide it into 3 parts here also, because I'm going to be joining this part together, so it has to align. So divide it into 3 also. 1 inch mark, 2 inch mark. So the distance between 1 inch mark to 2 inches mark is the opening that you are going to be leaving for your rope to pass through. So you are not going to stitch that part, and you are just going to stitch the rest part upward and the other one downward. I hope you get what I mean. So that part between that 1 inch to 2 inches mark is where you are not going to stitch on both sides, because that's where your rope is going to pass through. So what I'm going to do now is to mark where I'm going to be stitching on both sides, and then I'm going to be matching this up so that I can stitch it together. So I'm going to match it up like this, and then I'm going to be stitching the part that I have chalked. So you can see I'm going to stitch here, leave this space open, and then I'm going to stitch the rest to the all the way up. So I'm done stitching it. So this is what it looks like. I can see that I left that space open, and now what I'm going to do is to fold this allowance. So this, you can see the opening here. So this allowance, now I'm going to be folding it in like this, and I'm going to be stitching it down, and I'll do the same thing to the second side also, so that that opening can look very neat. So this is the opening. Now I'm going to fold it into two, the way it's going to appear on the band. So you can see this is what it looks like. This is the opening. So this part is going to be the front part that will be at the band part. So the next thing now is to join our elastic together. So I'm going to be placing it on each other this way, and I'm going to join it all the way down. So if you can get the 2 inches elastic band, it is better. So I'm going to be using my waistline. So my waist is 26. So I'm going to minus 1. I'm going to subtract 1 inch from it, so that the waist can be firm. So I'm going to be cutting out 25 inches 2 times. So after cutting it, I'm going to place it on each other like this and stitch it all the way down. Then after stitching, I'm going to be passing it through the elastic band. So what I'm going to be doing now is to top stitch on this band. So I'm going to be leaving a space where I'm going to be passing my elastic band through. So I'm not going to top stitch on that space. So I'm going to top stitch all around and leave that space open. So I'm already done top stitching, and this is the space where I left open so that I can pass my elastic band through. So what I'm going to do now is to match the front part, that opening, that front part where we have the opening for our rope. You can see it. That's where I'm matching up with the center front. So make sure that that part where the opening is facing the front side will be outside. I hope you get what I mean. So now I'm going to be stitching this all around. I'm actually going to pin it so that it can be easier for me. I'm going to stitch it all around, but I'm not going to stitch that part that there is opening, so that I can be able to pass my elastic band through it. So I'm going to attach a safety pin to my elastic band, and then through that opening I'm going to be passing it all around. And while doing this, I'm going to make sure that it does not twist. So make sure that it does not twist. So now I've brought out the second part. So what I'm simply going to do is just place it on each other like this, and then you are going to be stitching it down. So make sure you reverse it very well, you tighten the stitch. So now I'm done doing that, and I've also released the elastic for it to stay well. And that inner part that I left open, I already stitched it back to the waistline. So what you are going to do now is to pin this waistband on 4 sides. You are going to pin it on both sides, and the front, and also at the center front and center back, so that by the time you want to stitch, because we are going to be making a stitch for our elastic band and for our rope, for the rope to pass through, so that by the time you are making this stitch, it's going to be uniform. It's not going to shift to one side, like you're not going to have a greater number of fabric on one side. So here that we have the opening, we have 1 inch for the opening. So you're going to be stitching on the upper part of the opening all around, and the lower part of the opening all around. So that means you're going to be making 2 stitches. So in between the stitch is where your rope is going to pass through. So what you are going to do is, while stitching, you are going to stretch it out so that your elastic can be able to stretch. So you're going to keep stretching it out, and you're going to make sure that you are making it uniform. The fabric is uniform, so that it does not move to one side. So after stitching, this is what it looks like. You can see the double stitch I stitch at the upper part of the opening and the lower part. So now you are going to be passing your rope through this center. So this is what I am doing here. So I'm done passing it through. So this is what it looks like. So you can go ahead and tie your rope as you desire. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notification, give your comments, and I'll see you in my next. Bye.